growth therapy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get relaxed, even though I'm not. I just like need a deep breath.
You know, actually a trick to get to relax is to inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 counts. When you exhale longer than you inhale, it soothes your nervous system.
Can we do that right now?
Yeah,
Can you guide me
yeah.
through? Because I
Okay.
totally blanked out what you just said.
Like, and the directions
And
are
the
gone.
directions are gone. So let's do it again.
Okay, ready? Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Hold it. And
I can't breathe.
exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
My asthma. But that worked.
Oh, I know. When I started smoking weed and then I tried to do breath work, I was like,
I know it's like when you kept counting when I was like inhaling, I was like, I don't think I can inhale anymore. Like this is the most it can go.
I feel like you're like me. Whenever people do like, okay, inhale, I'm like,
I know.
I inhale so quick, and they're like on the count of 2, you know, and then there's like 4 more counts to go, and I'm like,
I just like I just get like stressed. I'm like I want to inhale properly and like not be loud, but then I just am because I'm a mouth breather. Because like I can't like nothing comes like in and out of this nose.
Oh, I can't even smell. Like
I can barely smell. But it's like do you have a deviated septum?
I have no idea.
I think I do. Do you snore?
I don't know.
How do you not know? Your partners don't tell you? Your family member, your friends?
I have night terrors, so the feedback I get is that I scream in my sleep.
Do you have PTSD or something?
Maybe from like a past life, or maybe
because
I'm psychic.
I talk a lot. Like I'm very animated when I sleep. Like my boyfriend's like very concerned. He's just like sometimes. Like one time I freaked him out because I was just like, and for those who are watching on YouTube, you'll see it. But I was just like, I just pointed out of nowhere. And I was like pointing at him. So I'm like next to him, but I'm pointing like this, like right over him. And he's like, what the fuck?
That does freak me out.
Yeah.
I was in Paris one time and I was with my friends. They were staying at my flat. And one of my friends rises like a zombie in the middle of the night. And she just starts talking to like no one. And I'm a light sleeper. So I woke the fuck up. I was like, it's go time. What's happening? Who's here? Like, is someone breaking in?
Right. Survival
and she was
mode.
sleeping.
Fuck.
It was the scariest
Thankfully, I haven't like got out of bed. Like, hopefully I don't do that. Like, I don't want to like sleepwalk because like, I don't know. I feel like where am I going to, like, I don't want to end up like outside like, or like going on a drive or
I
something.
sleep naked. So if I start sleepwalking,
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Or you're not fucked. You're just revealed, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
gets
like
the
that.
pleasure
You
to
are
see you
there.
naked.
It is a pleasure.
It is pleasure science.
Pleasure science.
Okay, let's introduce because we've been holding in our conversation. Anyways, hi guys, it's me, Stefanie Maegan, your host of Broken Therapy, and we have the lovely, the pleasure scientist, Nadege.
Hi.
We've had you on before. We went viral.
Yeah,
we were talking about
we
vaginas
did.
and like orgasm. It was literally just like sex 101.
Yeah. It's like, this is what your pussy does. What did I say? The average clitoris is 4 inches long, which
Yeah.
it is.
And I didn't even know that, which is
Yeah.
like so great. I feel like you and like everyone else, like Nicoletta and like the twins, like this whole group has like really like opened me up. Like it's really like helped me like, you know, like learn sex in
Yeah.
a different way that's just like, you know,
Comprehensive.
right. Yeah.
Like the basic.
like missionary doggy style. Like, why do I get attached?
But like no
you
one
know?
gets like we don't get the basic training. Like
Yeah.
only 18 states require sex ed to be medically accurate right now. So you can imagine when we were in high school how bad it was if we even got sex ed.
So I like found my report card from middle school. I put it on my Instagram story, and like I got like a C and an F in like every class, but I got an A in teen issues. And I was like, everyone was like, what the fuck? What were you doing in teen? What is teen issues?
I was just going to say that. What is teen issues? Is that like sex ed, or is it just like you have a personality and go to another class because you're too much for the teacher? Because I would have been in teen issues. Like,
that's true. It was like, is this detention?
Yeah.
And like, were you like a trouble child? And it's like, no, it was like a requirement. I remember everyone had to take teen issues, but it was like, it was about sex, drugs, addiction. It was just like
teen issues.
It's just teen issues.
Degrassi.
Literally Degrassi.
Someone watched Degrassi. I hate how they called it teen issues though.
Right?
Like, why do we have to make the word issue be a part of it?
1000%. Because it's just life.
Yeah.
It literally,
yeah.
sex is life.
Yeah.
Like doing drugs is life.
Yeah. Also,
like,
the issues don't stop.
Right.
Like they don't happen because you're a teenager.
I'm in my 30s and I still
and the
need this
issues
class.
keep coming. Yeah.
Has not stopped. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, and I remember in that class we just talked about like we had to sign something to like save our virginity until.
Oh my God.
And it's just crazy. Like I wasn't even at a private school. Like this was a public school.
Wow.
And we had to like sign something to be like, oh, I'm going to save it till marriage. But
that's
obviously
horrible. You know, in the 90s, in order for public schools to get funding for sex ed, they had to actually put in their curriculum that if you have sex outside of marriage, you'll get like an STD or bad things will happen to you. Like, it's just madness.
Yeah.
Like it's in order to get funding, they had to agree to lie to you.
That's so
like, isn't that
up.
crazy?
That's so fucked up. No, yeah. It's like, and I'm sure it's like that around the world, but I mean,
yeah, it's really not any better outside of the United States.
Yeah. And it sucks. And I'm so glad that we have people like you just like sharing the knowledge, even if it's just sex 101, you know, like just sharing that knowledge. And so today I want to talk about your book.
Yeah.
Sextrology. Do you want to kind of like go over what it is? Because it's basically, I mean, based off the name, it's like sex and astrology mixed together. Because you also like are an astrologer.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I love doing sextrology charts, and I'm going to do yours later and Brian's, and I'm so excited. But I love using astrology like to rethink sex because astrology is just so fun to think about. People really enjoy it. For me, it's my spiritual practice, and I've been practicing it for a long time and learning about it for a long time. But for most people, it's just something fun to think about, and it's a great opener because people are like, it's hard to talk about sex, you know, or it's hard to even open up to an expert or a therapist or a counselor or a coach, you know, so it's a great equalizer. But the Sextrology book, so my book is the only astrology book that goes over your sexual subconscious. So every single astrology sign, I provide your sexual subconscious archetype. You're an Aquarius, so you're the mischievous pleasure saint.
Okay.
It's like you're always breaking the rules, but you're doing it in the pursuit of pleasure, doing it in the pursuit of things that bring you happiness, a total rebel.
Yeah, I feel like
read
that's
the
my
book
life. Very unconventional. Very unconventional is like how I describe myself, I guess.
I think so. I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
And then I go over lust compatibility, so who you're most compatible with erotically.
Okay.
And that does bleed into romance, but I try to make it a little bit more about lust.
Sorry, we're in a garage, so I'm gonna be
We're
sneezing.
in a garage.
And there's a fucking big ass strawberry next to me that's probably
I
collecting
love it.
dust.
No, I love the strawberry.
Thank you, Rose, for letting me use your garage. But continue.
What else is this book about? Oh, and your secret erogenous zones. I also go over, because in astrology, there's something called iatromathematics or medical astrology. So every single zodiac sign has a different erogenous zone and like pleasure center. So I go over that in the book. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon. So go check it out. Go buy it. It's fun.
Links down below.
Links down below. It's a queer and gender inclusive book. And it's also an ethically non-monogamous inclusive book because, you know, we're talking about lust. So you could do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
And that's the book. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So let's get like a feel of it just reading, you know, my chart and maybe even Brian's to see like.
I'm so excited. Okay, so do you want me to like look into yours first and then look at compatibility? Okay,
yeah, let's do that.
It. Let's do it.
I'm curious because because Danny's read my chart, but only in just like, you know, the overall. Never really dove into like the sex part of it.
Oh, totally. The sex part is so much fun.
I think the only thing he says like Mars and Gemini, so I'm a little like.
Oh, you do have a Mars and Gemini.
Yeah, so we could talk
at
about
0 degrees Gemini, so you're super innocent with it. Like
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like there's an innocence to you. When you have 0 degrees in your chart, it means that you were born into this life with a lot of innocence in that area, which is really sweet. Like a little bit of naivete.
I am very innocent when it comes to like sex. I think people like, I mean, yes and no, obviously, because like.
I mean, you could be a freak and be innocent. Yeah. That's like one of the lies of the virginity myth that we're taught is that like you lose innocence by having sex or by being a sexual being. Actually, psychologically, your innocence declines when you get lied to, when someone tricks you, when you experience, like when you think you're going to experience one thing and another thing happens. That's how innocence gets lost, not by having sex. Sex is just an experience with other people.
That part.
Yep.
Period.
So, I love it when people say period. It like
I
makes
never
me really
say period,
excited.
but I felt like something about me was just like,
it makes me
and
really
a period
happy.
at the end of that, because
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. But yeah, you do have a Mars in Gemini. So Mars is the planet of sex, aggression, passion. It shows how you go after what you want. And so having a Gemini and Mars, you're gonna like want to taste a lot of flavors, be very curious, very cerebral. So role play, sexting, voice notes, sexy voice notes.
Yeah.
If you and Brian like ever play with voice notes, I would recommend it, because with that Mars and Gemini, there's like, you're going to want like some of that action.
I loved having, when we first started dating, we were long distance. I loved having phone sex with him.
Oh my God.
It was like, yeah, it was great.
Sorry, I'm like adjusting. I'm getting
Get comfortable.
I'm getting comfy on the couch, in the garage, in the garage. There we go. In the garage.
In the
I love
garage.
It's a garage if I'm here.
Exactly.
Listen.
I was gonna say.
Your North Node is in Capricorn. So your North Node is your destiny placement.
Yeah.
Capricorn is a super kinky sign. So when we're thinking about this sexually,
Yeah.
ways to play with power in the bedroom is
Okay.
something that I would definitely recommend you explore if you have a destiny placement there, because that'll activate like how you step into power in the other areas of your life.
So like maybe being more dominant.
Well, you can play. It depends on what you genuinely want as well.
Okay.
You know, like let me see if you have.
Cause cause I feel like I like being like submissive with my boyfriend. Like I feel like I'm leaning towards being a sub.
Yeah. And, you know, playing with power doesn't mean that you have to be the dominant one. It just means you're playing with power. So playing with giving power away.
Okay.
And also another big misconception in BDSM is that like the dominant person is the one in charge, but usually the submissive is the one who's getting the sensations happening to them. So that's why you negotiate a BDSM scene ahead of time. So that way the submissive can say, this is everything I'm cool with.
Right.
You know, does that vibe with you? Because of course, you know, BDSM dominants aren't like kink vending machines where like you go and say, I want you to be a vampire, and then they're going to do that. You know, you all do have to be compatible. But just because someone is submissive doesn't mean that they haven't stated everything that they want, and that they aren't also in their own version of power. And once you enter into the BDSM moment and the submission begins and you're submitting to someone else, like you're only submitting because you have told them and outlined what is okay to do. So in a way you are also in control and establishing that control. But yeah, playing with BDSM I think would be so much fun for you to explore.
Yeah, we definitely have like wants and needs to explore more. I think just like for me, like sometimes like I can be very like black and white with sex. Like 1 minute I'm just like there's nothing sexual I'm feeling, and not just with him, just in general, like with myself. Yeah. And then there's like the other part of me that's just like a fucking slut, you know, where I'm like, I want to have sex all day, every day. Like, let's have it like 5 times a day. Like he's like, whoa, you know, and then you won't hear for, you know, and then I'm like not in the mood to like even do anything for a little bit. So yeah, I can be very, I mean, for him, he's like, he could every day, all day, you're just down to do that. That's why I'm like, I want him to like get a side chick, you know, because I'm like, for the moments where I'm like not there sexually, like he could go like have fun with someone else.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And it's so funny, you know, this is why we should normalize hiring sex workers and giving sex workers basic human rights, because it's completely fine to like hire a sex worker or be ethically non-monogamous. Like I have a client of mine who, her and her husband, she just is tired. She does not want to fuck her husband right now. That's it. But she loves him. They're not trying to like not be together in any way. Yeah. But she's just not feeling sexual right now and hasn't for a few months. And she's been trying to like encourage him to hire a sex worker, and he doesn't want to, because for him it feels like cheating, or it feels like, you know, and he also doesn't want to explore ethical non-monogamy. But it's not because he doesn't want to. Like, as we've been working together, it's because he just feels like it would be cheating. Right. And like, it's not cheating. And if your partner is consenting to you exploring, like, anyway, that's a whole other tangent. We should totally normalize hiring sex workers, because
I agree.
Sometimes you got to get laid.
Exactly. And like, honestly, sometimes I don't want to get laid, and he
100%.
wants to get laid more often than me, then like more power to you, you know?
Yep.
So it's like,
totally.
yeah. So we're working on it. Working on it.
Love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Well, you have a moon in Aries and a rising in Aries, which is really fascinating. So you're really surrounded by the energy of momentum. And like, do you feel like very connected to your emotions or kind of detached?
Oh yeah, very connected.
Yeah, interesting.
Very connected. Yeah.
Because usually those are like all signs of detachment. Aries, Aquarius, and then Aries again.
Yeah.
But you do have a Chiron in Cancer. So
I think like before when I was younger, I was connected to my emotions, but I didn't really know how to articulate it. Like I think it was like honestly just having the show.
Yeah.
It was like I think something in me for so long was like wanting to like express it because I didn't know how to like talk about it in my everyday. Like I didn't know how to like you know just let it out in a way. Like I think that sometimes I would just like with music I tried, you know, like I love to sing. Like singing that
I
was
didn't
like
know
yeah, like
that.
I like sang in the church. Yeah, it was just so I grew up singing and singing was like kind of like my first kind of step into like expressing myself. And then I don't know, and I just that kind of like fell off, and I really just I still love to sing, so don't get me wrong, but like you know the music industry is a whole thing, but you know, but I really found I think even more comfort in what I do with this because it was like almost kind of difficult, I think, especially when I'd get into relationships and like I wouldn't know how to express to them that I liked them, so I felt like a lot of times I would just like detach, but I just didn't know I was doing it. And then out of nowhere I burst into like I really like you, and they're like I had no idea, you know.
And
just
yeah,
like,
that's very standard for all of those placements because they're not placements that are known for emotional intelligence, which isn't to say that you don't have that, but that it is going to be like just like you said, like it's a journey. Like other people will have those natural strengths right off the bat. And
I wasn't that.
Oh, I wasn't either. So no. Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun. We're fun, but
like it gets
we're not emotionally intelligent. I am now.
Yeah, same. It took work.
We healed.
Yeah, exactly. It takes work, but
It does. Ooh, a Jupiter in Leo. So no wonder this podcast has been such a great experience for you, especially sexually, because Leos want to be the star. They rule the ego in astrology, and you have a Leo in Jupiter. So you expand the most in this life by stepping into your own starlight.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
For sure. It's like, it's weird because it's like, I don't feel like I'm like the loudest in the room or I'm like the star of anything, but I don't know. Yeah. But it's like, I almost have to, it's like the show kind of, I think is that part of me, I guess.
I love that. I think, you know, when you have like something to get out, giving yourself the outlet is so important. Like whether it's and this has to do with pleasure science. Like if you're in a relationship with someone and you have a lot of attention seeking behavior or things like that, you often just need to go to an acting class, take a singing lesson, give yourself creativity, sexuality, and money are very, very similar energetic things. Yeah. So if you're having, you know, issues in a relationship, it can sometimes not even stem from sex. It can either stem from a lack of a creative outlet or money. Something going on.
Oh,
with money.
I agree. Because I think like, going back to like just growing, I always felt like, you said something that was profound and it slipped my mind because ADHD.
Well, thank you for calling me profound, though, girl.
Everything you're saying right now is just like, it's touching me in a very emotional way. And I have to clarify that. But yeah, it was, you said something, oh, fuck. Oh, God, maybe it'll come back to me later. But yeah, I think there was just always a sense of, I remember, there's always a sense of just like wanting attention, not to be necessarily the star, but just because I felt like, maybe it's just like a middle child syndrome, like I was middle child, so it was always kind of like my attention was always being split and never really felt like fully heard. Yeah. So it was, so having a creative outlet, you're right, it was just kind of like making me the star of like my own little movie in my head. Yeah. And then, you know, that was like very healing.
And it's important for everybody to feel like they're the star in
Main
their
character.
own life.
Yeah.
Like you are the main character of your life.
Yeah.
And like you should set yourself up for success to experience that in whatever way feels in alignment for you. And you will have better relationships and better sex. Like when you stand up for yourself outside of the bedroom in ways that might make you feel uncomfortable, you're normalizing the feeling of advocating for yourself. And so then when you're in the bedroom, which is, it's certainly a difficult place to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You've already been doing it outside of the bedroom. It's more normal. You can now do it here. You know, like a lot of the time when people have sex blocks, like the best thing you could do for yourself is figure out what the block is and then start healing it outside of the bedroom. You know, because you're normalizing the feeling of getting over that block. So then when you're in the bedroom and you're in this situation that'll make you nervous, you've been working on it.
Like being a people pleaser, I think is like one of my biggest things. It's like I'm such a people pleaser. So then so in my real life, I was just kind of like trying to make everyone happy, and then in bed, I was kind of like doing the same thing. But now I feel like I've gotten better at my people pleasing for sure. But I think that was period. There we go.
Well, and so thinking about that, so also thinking about being the star of your own show, you have a Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. And Black Moon Lilith is a really interesting placement in astrology. A lot of astrology charts won't map it for you, which is so annoying to me because that's like one of the biggest indicators in sextrology of what's going on. But having a Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, so Sagittarius is another sign that wants to be in the spotlight or just wants to be seen. It doesn't have, like Leo wants to be in the spotlight. They literally represent, they rule the house of creativity.
Every Leo I know wants to be.
We love it for them.
Yeah.
You know, someone's got to do it.
Well, depending. I have a little
My South Node was in Leo, which means in a past life I was a Leo. So sometimes I feel you. I like can't.
Yeah, like there's not all Leos. I don't want to like shade the whole sign.
I love Leos.
But there's just like a couple Leos on my like shit list right now.
You know, when
I'm
any
like,
astrology,
you need to relax and like hold yourself accountable for your fucking actions.
Oh yeah. Whenever any astrology sign is not evolved, it's so difficult to deal with them because then they become the worst of their archetype. And so for Leo, super ego.
1000%. Yeah.
Totally. But with the Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius, so this is also an astrology sign that in a sense rules a part of the ego, but they want to be seen, often seen for like intelligence, curious. So it totally makes sense that you're doing this podcast too, and that a huge thing that this podcast is always exploring is sex, because your sex placement is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the archetype of the philosopher and the wanderlust, the person who wants to travel and learn, but learn through experience, not just books. So they do want to learn through books, but also experience. And so how this will map out in your erotic life, which when I say erotic life doesn't just mean sex, it means all the ways you experience pleasure and eroticism, wanting to learn, wanting to connect with other people, probably exploring ethical non-monogamy, especially with the Mars and Gemini and the Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius. These are great placements for exploring non-monogamy because you have all the tools in place to do that very fluidly, because none of those signs are particularly possessive. Like, it doesn't mean you won't get jealous or you won't have feelings about things, which is normal, and you should. Jealousy is a very intelligent emotion when we understand what it's trying to tell us. But
that is the best way to describe jealousy.
What is the best way?
That was the best way to like describe that feeling without it being like a toxic description.
Yeah. Well, when you don't understand what the message of jealousy is, of course you're going to feel toxic because you feel this very intense emotion that is super real.
Right.
But, and often for anyone who's listening who's like, okay, but then what does jealousy mean? Jealousy often means that someone has something that you want. And we think about jealousy. You only feel jealous when someone has something you want. If you're a chef and your friend is a writer and your friend gets a book deal, you wouldn't feel jealous. You'd be like, amazing, bad bitch, get it. But if you're a chef and your friend is a chef and your friend gets on a chef show, you'll be jealous as fuck, probably. Because you're a chef. Why wasn't that, you know? And the same thing can happen in relationships. When you get jealous of what other people have, it's because they have something that you want. When you get jealous of your partner, it might be because they possess a personality trait you wish you had, which was why you were attracted to them in the first place, or an insecurity is coming to light that you can look into for your own self and heal. But jealousy is a very intelligent emotion when we can, you know, when we can really like dive into.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. dive into like why you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
But with Sagittarius, so with that placement, like, I mean, do you guys do voice notes? Because I feel like
feel like we don't, but I feel like we should. But I mean, I loved like doing like when like, you know,
the phone sex.
The phone sex was like a thing that like I loved in the beginning, like, and it was before we even had sex. So like we never even like I think at that point we didn't even like see each other like naked yet or anything like that. It was just like we were getting to know each other because I lived in LA and he was like in Oakland. So it was just like, you know, you're just one thing led to another and you're just fucking talking dirty and shit and masturbating. And I loved it. I was like, I haven't even like touched this man yet and I'm like already fucking like he's making me like go crazy, you know. So
have you ever looked up your erotic blueprint?
No, what is that?
So there's a sexologist named Jaya, and she created this system where there's 5 erotic blueprints. It reminds me a lot of the 5 love languages. Like, I think
you did mention this.
Yeah.
Was that you?
I might have. It's very popular, so it could have been another expert too. But there's 5 different archetypes, erotic blueprint archetypes. And chances are you're more than one. You just have one that's dominant. So one of them is a kinky archetype. So the way that you show your erotic side and give and receive affection tends to be on the kinky spectrum. There's also energetic, which I think you might be, given everything that you were saying, where foreplay, and especially with that Mars in Gemini placement, because that's such a cerebral placement in astrology. So energetic folks, and I'm an energetic erotic arousal type, we get really turned on by delayed gratification, build up, flirting, language. Like there isn't really a lot of touch. It's a lot of energetic sexual tension that's being built, and that can be super, super hot.
I love that.
Yeah.
1000%.
Oh yeah. It sounds like you're an energetic erotic blueprint type. But let's see, there's the kinky, there's energetic, there's the shapeshifter, which is super fun. Shapeshifter is someone who gets off by essentially like shape-shifting into what the other person seems to prefer, which can be quite confusing because a lot of people are people pleasers in bed because we're nervous, and that is not the same as being a shapeshifter.
Okay.
And the way you can tell the difference is if you're shape-shifting a lot in bed and it leaves you very tired or resentful, you're probably not a shapeshifter, you're just people pleasing. But if you're in the bedroom and someone is like, I really like very normal, vanilla, you know, missionary. And you're like, fuck yeah. And that's great. And then you have another lover and they're like, I want you to whip me. And you're like, that's great. You know, like if it energizes you, genuinely energizes you, then you're probably
it's like a healthy people pleaser.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it serves you. You're excited by it.
Exactly.
You know? What's the other one? Shapeshifter, kinky, energetic, physical, like sexual, like, you know, it's sex makes you feel sexy.
Right.
And I forget what the 4th one is, but y'all can Google it.
Like, do your research.
Do your research.
I think that's homework for you guys.
Sensual,
to figure out what
maybe, I think something like that. But anyway, there's 5 different archetypes, and people usually have one dominant one and then a splatter of the others.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely the energy thing because I do like a build up. I do like foreplay. I do like I think it's like such a mental thing for me.
Yeah.
Like I need it to, like, we need to have like a sexy conversation. Like I feel like what turns me on is like, for instance, like, so we're exploring like opening up our relationship and I mean, they know the story because Brian's talked about it on the show, but like he like went out and like, you know, he's been talking to this girl, he finally met her, and the whole time I was just like at home, like just anxious, you know, because it's just the first time.
Anxious, and like excited for him, or anxious, like what if this goes wrong?
I think it was just, I don't even think it was like a negative anxious. I think it was mostly excited, but also like, you know, like it's just the unknown is scary. It's the feeling of like you don't have control in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just like, and also it's the first time, so it's like it's just the first day of school, like you just get a little nervous.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. So, I love the way you describe that because I think that is the nerves do feel like that a lot of the time when you're opening up a relationship. Yeah. It's like new. First day of school, not like we're making a mistake.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I had no regret in the midst of anything. Like I knew that it was like the right decision, but it was just the first first day of school kind of jitters where you're like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? Like what kind of homework we're gonna get? Like what are we gonna learn today? You know, just don't know. Like who am I gonna sit next to? Like you just don't know.
Yeah.
So it was just all those like unknown questions of like, what's the vibe gonna be like? When are they like? I want to know now if they're fucking now or not. You know, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, they like they didn't go far. He was just like, she was masturbating, he was fingering her, and she got her period. So like things kind of, but anyways, it was that's a whole other episode. But he came back, and it was like, because I just had this like buildup of like anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, he came, he sat next to me, and he was like holding me and just telling me everything that like play by play of like the whole night, and it was just like, we had like the best sex ever. Like after that,
isn't it really hot to like hear your partner talk about fucking other or just like, or like their fantasies,
or just like them being turned on by someone else. You're just like, why?
I've never done this, but I've always had a fantasy of like watching like the person that I'm sleeping with, like they're watching porn, and I'm just either eating them out or giving them head or you know whatever.
Yeah.
But like. Oh, that
but they're
just
getting
turns
off of
me
like
on.
watching. Yeah, no,
but,
that
like,
is sexy.
They can't touch themselves. Like I'm like, ugh, it
oh
turns
my
me on.
God, I
know.
do love like playing together when like porn is on.
And you know, I've never done that. And there was one guy who I was dating, and I was like, I really want to do this. I want to suck your cock while you're watching porn. And he like didn't really. I don't know if it was because he was nervous that like I wouldn't like the porn that he liked, or maybe he. I think that's what it was.
They get really weird about it, but it's like we're open to. I
want to
know. Yeah,
I brought this up, boo.
You're like, this is my job.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't even judge you.
And I think it was so funny though, because then I was like, well, what kind of porn do you watch? He's like, only girls that look like you. And I was like, okay, let's unpack this, because I know that you do not watch porn with just chicks that look like. Come on.
Yeah, like it's okay if it's girls that don't look like me. Like I want to know.
Or oh my God, what if you watched like men, and that's what he was like worried about? Because that would also turn me on. I couldn't give a I mean,
yeah, I know, but it's like it's you, and it's like you wouldn't care, you know. But you know, people still like carry a little bit of shame because there's just like you know, some weird shit out there. People are into weird shit, and that's fine.
I'm here for the weird shit.
Yeah, like I want to know. I want to know all the weirdest shit that you like. Yeah, so. But where were we?
Let's look at you and Brian together. Unless you have any specific questions before I move on from your chart.
No. I'm kind of just curious about the compatibility.
I love it.
Just based off the charts.
I love it. Okay, so let me see what his Black Moon Lilith is. Oh, his Black Moon Lilith is in Cancer, and he's a Cancer. Interesting. So the way he has sex is very close to just like how he kind of is as a person.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, like he's...
like sensual, loving,
very sensual, very sweet.
Nurturing.
That's why I feel like he just hasn't like, because people are like, oh my God, have you found anyone yet? Like, I feel like he needs to be connected to somebody.
Yeah.
He can't just like just hook up with anybody. Maybe, I don't know. But like, I feel just based off of what I'm just seeing in his like journey of like, you know, like finding like a secondary, it like, he has to have, even if he's not trying to fall in love, it just has to have like some sort of connection.
Are you familiar with the term demisexual?
Yeah, I think I'm that too.
I know, I think I'm that too. And it sounds like he is.
Yeah. I'm definitely demisexual.
Yeah, me too.
Unfortunately,
like,
I
know.
I wish I could just fuck everything, because sometimes I just want to. You just want to get your shit off, you know. But then like. But if I don't like you, even if it's just a 10% like or something, like
I know
I won't get aroused.
If someone gives me like 1% ick, I'm out.
Right? Yeah. I'm just like, no. Yeah.
1% ick and no dick.
I like that.
Okay, so he is a Sag rising, Cancer sun, Libra moon. Oh, that's really nice. The Libra moon is super compatible with your Aquarius sun.
Yeah.
So the way he is emotionally is really, that's really wonderful. And then let me look at your moon again.
I love that you're looking at his charts going, oh, because I really feel like that is like his, like how I think about my boyfriend. It's like, oh, like he's just such a sweet
so
person.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, just based off your chart, you're like, oh, it's like,
just like teddy bear.
Yeah.
Total teddy bear. And his rising Sag is amazing for your Aries moon. So super, just like on a identity level, life values level, super, super compatible. And then also emotionally, Mercury in Cancer, is he a crier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1000%.
Yep.
Not
It's
to like get out
refreshing.
about, but you know,
It's
he cries.
refreshing when men can cry.
Oh, 1,000%.
Honestly,
He is a
like
crier.
it kind of. Did you watch Perfect Match on
Oh
Netflix?
my God, Dom! Yeah, I'm interviewing
Dom!
him tomorrow.
Oh,
So he's gonna be on the show.
I love it.
He reminds me so much of my boyfriend. He just cries. He's a crier.
and it's so refreshing. Like
He's
when
a
I
lot
watched
like
that
Brian.
show and I
Yeah.
saw Dom just like feel his feelings, I was like, you couldn't be sexier, man.
Yeah, no,
Like-
he's so fun. If I was like single, I would definitely try to like, but I don't think that
Love
I
it.
would because he's not really a good like person to have as a secondary.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
a monogamous person. It's
Oh,
based
is
off of what
he?
I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow.
I
I
can't.
mean, I'm not gonna
wait.
flirt
I
with him out
can't
of
wait.
respect, but you know.
Yeah, out of respect.
But I think like, but based off of what I've seen and like the research
Yeah.
I've done on him, like he's more monogamous for sure.
Yeah.
But
I think so many of us are like monogamish, where it's like we do need that main
Primary,
squeeze,
yeah.
that primary, and like not polyromantic, but polysexual. You know, like
Yeah.
a polyromantic person. For anyone who's listening, that's someone who can have more than one love, more than one romantic relationship, and that's fulfilling. And then polysexual is loving to have more than one sexual partner, but romantically, probably not.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people are polysexual and monoromantic. And then there's a lot of people who are polyamorous and polyromantic.
That's like
but-
one thing I'm kind of like concerned about, just like in this journey of like opening a relationship, is like being sort of like demisexual, where I have to have a
Yeah.
connection. But it's like I want to eventually. Right now, I'm more turned on by him finding other partners. But
Yeah.
when it gets to a point where I look for partners, like my concern is like I don't want to like have feelings for someone, you know, because although for me to have sex with someone, I have to have a connection, and I'm
Yeah.
scared of getting that intertwined with like having actual like strong feelings and that being confusing
Yeah.
in the relationship. Even though I know that like Brian's the one for me, like
Yeah.
he's the father of my kids, like it's
Yeah.
he like I'm very secure in that, but I'm like, am I capable of like liking more than one person? Like I don't know.
You know, you don't know until you try. And
Yeah.
like being demisexual and wanting to have more than one lover, I mean, you could have like a husband and a boyfriend or a girlfriend,
Yeah.
you know?
I just
and,
don't think that
like,
he would be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's just the journey.
Yeah.
You know, there really is no right or wrong answer in that situation. It's just about going through the journey and like figuring out, like, you only know a boundary once it's been crossed. So
That's true.
you just don't know what you don't know. And
until you do it.
yeah. Yeah.
So I guess we'll just figure it out as we
Yeah.
go.
But as someone who I'm demisexual and I do enjoy casual sex, and like
Yeah.
I've just noticed that, and then also being an energetic erotic type, I've just noticed that the buildup needs to be slow and that there does
Yeah.
need to be some sort of friendship established there.
Yeah.
But I've gotten really good now at figuring out like, I don't want you as a partner. I know how it feels when I want someone as a partner.
Yeah.
And I know how it feels when I just want someone. I also think like a great exercise for you as you explore this is to also consider at what point you feel complete in an erotic situation. So
okay.
maybe you're dating someone, or not dating because you're not trying to find another partner,
Yeah.
but maybe you're, you know, having fun times, like having a flirt date or something with
Yeah.
someone. And in that moment, what will make you feel sexually complete? Is flirting enough? Is kissing enough? Is sex enough? It'll be different in every situation. But there are times where like, I'm single, I'm going out, I want to like have physical affection. I feel like I want to have sex, and then I make out with someone and I'm complete. I'm good.
You're like, that's it. Got it out of
done.
my system.
Yep, got it out of my system.
Okay.
And so that's another, I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to, if we're like dating, if we're trying to find someone, if we're opening up a relationship, that the point is to have good sex with that person. And maybe you'll feel complete just by kissing with them, or oral,
or just even like
or
texting them and they're
yeah.
telling you you're pretty or something.
Exactly.
Like, that's
Oh
it.
my God. Truly, honestly,
Sometimes that's all you need.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And it's funny because so recently, I don't think I said this on the podcast, but recently, like there's this he's a well-known rapper in the Bay Area. Like
Okay.
I personally didn't know, like I wasn't familiar with the artist, but my boyfriend was.
Yeah.
But this artist DM'd me and it was like saying how he was like a huge fan the show and my content, and it was just saying like, he was flirting too. He was just like, you're like really beautiful, like whenever you have a show, I'm gonna be front row. Like he was flirting with me, and I was like, oh, I was really flattered, and I kind of like was like, flirting back a little bit, but I mean, I told my boyfriend obviously because we were trying to just be honest, but I was like, I mean, and then, like the conversation didn't go anywhere, but it was just like it felt good to like be able to flirt with someone and have and accept them like calling me pretty and saying that they're attracted to me, and then that was it. Like it not going anywhere, but just be like, oh, I like, so I still got it, because it's been a while like since I've been single, so it's just been like, which my boyfriend does make me feel beautiful, but y'all know it sometimes.
There's a different energy with, we call it new relationship energy.
Yes.
And that is electrifying. That is libido boosting. Sometimes opening up a long-term marriage, the only thing you need is to like flirt, and flirting is healthy. Flirt for your health, everybody, honestly.
Yeah. And it felt good to be able to do that without like the guilt. I mean, at first I was kind of like, wait, is this okay? And I'm like, no, it's okay. This is a part of this is like our rule. Like, we're like, we're allowing ourselves to do this. I'm like, he sexted other girls. I was like, I could, take a say thank you and like put a flirty emoji, whatever. But so it felt really nice, and that's like as far as I've gone in this open relationship. Is allow a guy to
take
flirt
your
with
time.
me.
Like there's no rush really at the end of the day. And I think like the other really, I mean, I'm sure you guys do this, but anyone listening, if you're opening up your relationship for the first time, once a week, like have time scheduled where you check in and talk about like everything that's happening. I mean, you guys have great communication, but that's something that I've noticed. Like I've had a couple clients who are opening up their relationship, and I'm like, oh, okay, when's your weekly check-in, or when do you have a check-in? And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's important.
Yeah, no, we're pretty good at like checking in. Like,
I mean, I could already tell because you're like, you sat on the couch and you told me the whole thing.
Yeah. We talk all the time. Like we talk. We're. Well, that's one thing that we're really good at is communicating.
Yeah. Well, with his moon in Libra, that makes sense. All air signs, air placements are chatty, and a rising in Sag. And let's see here. Oh, he has a North Node in Aries. So you're in his destiny because you have an Aries moon, Aries rising.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then your North Node is in Capricorn. Let me see. He is a Neptune in Capricorn, so he'll ignite your dreams on your destiny placement.
And he does. I mean, he's a fan of the show. That's how we met.
Oh.
Yeah. And to this day, he's always so supportive of just like
we love
the
Brian.
show and then everyone on the show and just like
I know he's always DMing me. He's like, I love that story.
Yeah, like he's
and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, like
thank you for the feedback.
He's very like just believes in everything and always tries to like help. So yeah,
Cancers are the best. So he has a Venus in Gemini, which is so compatible with your Mars in Gemini. Yeah, so that's great. Like the way you go after passion is the way he goes after love.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so that's really nice. And he has a Mars in Cancer. Okay. Oh, but we discovered that because he fucks the way he is with his, I remember saying that earlier.
Yeah.
I just get excited again. That's my ADHD. Like, I swear, I mean.
And he just wants to fuck all the time. I don't know if that's just being a man.
I think, having a Mars in Cancer is such a sensual and erotic placement.
It's very sensual.
Yeah. So,
But also like very like dominant. I mean, very, he can be very dominant, but also be very like
nurturing.
Sweet. So nurturing. So nurturing.
That's why I love like Cancer cisgendered men, or even Cancer trans men. Like people who identify as a man and are a Cancer have this great balance of dominance, but also like nurturing, care.
Yes.
Like
he's very like he's just very like thoughtful. Like, I always hear about like other people, like their relationships, with men, and they're like, oh, he just doesn't really like, think of, get creative with dates, or he just is like, they're not, men are just not really good with details. Yeah. Like, I feel like men in general are not good with details, but like Brian is just, he's like just the little things. Like, for instance, I like bought some snacks like for my road trip, but then he like also packed some extra snacks for me for my road trip, and he like put it into like a little Ziploc bag and just put it in there. I was like, that is the sweetest for you to like pack my little like snack for my day. Like,
I'm here for the snacks.
So it was like, what kind of guy? I was like, but I love it. Like, thank you, because like
Aw.
food is the way to my heart.
Amen.
Right?
Okay, so
Especially
I realized
snacks.
actually, so he has a Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, which is what I got excited about before, and a Mars in Cancer. So Mars is that planet of sex,
Cancer.
aggression, and then he is a Cancer. Yeah, so the way he is sexual and the way he goes after what he wants is going to be very in alignment with his own identity, which also means that feedback can be difficult because it can crush him.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Oh, 1000%.
Yeah.
Like in every aspect of his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm just like, it's okay.
It
Let's
hits
not.
the most personal parts.
Yeah,
It hits it cuts deep, which, there's no such thing as rejection, just redirection, people.
Exactly.
And especially with sexual feedback or, sexual rejection, remember that people have had their sexual preferences way before you came along.
Yeah.
It's not as personal as we make it out to believe. Of course, it can feel so personal, and you're not crazy for taking something personal because sex and nudity, like, how can you not?
Right.
But, honor your feelings. And then as you process your feelings, recognize, like, okay, my partner's preferences existed before me. So the fact that I like my feet tickled and you don't doesn't mean you don't like me or my feet. It means that that was there before me,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But so sensuality, romance. Do you ever romance him or add any sensuality?
I mean, do I? I don't really feel like I'm the most. I'm not like, I'm romantic in a, like I just act like a little like kid with him. Like I feel like I'm always just like,
oh, well, that's that Aries moon and rising.
yeah, like I'm
Aries
always
is
like
the
act
child.
like a fucking like child, like sometimes, or sometimes I feel like when he's again really sensitive to taking something personally about like whatever life work, and I'm like, okay, I turn into like a mother for him. Like, I don't know if that's just my like woman instincts, but I'm like, okay, come here, let me like
Let me see
rub you
Cancer.
and like make you feel like at home. And and I could tell like he turns into like a little baby,
Oh.
and so
Well, you have a Chiron in Cancer. Chiron represents the wound of your life, the thing that you'll be healing your whole life. So he activates your wounds having so much Cancer, but it's not a bad thing because that's very healing,
Very.
activating it through like a sense of healing. So that makes sense that too, like if he's hurt or something, that activates in you as well.
like all of a sudden I'm like just like this nurturing like mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cancer is the archetype of the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he does the same for me too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And like Cancer is also a super kinky sign. They're kinky through, usually, obviously everyone is unique, but Cancer's stereotypically is kinky through sensuality. So like feathers, sensual touch, probably not going to be the most masochistic or sadistic necessarily. Although I did once date a very sadistic Cancer and he wouldn't show me his chart.
What? Why not?
Because, these hoes are
They're
afraid.
just like, they don't want to be read.
They're afraid of my magic.
Right, exactly. Oh my God.
No, he didn't want to be read. It didn't last long.
Yeah.
But the sex was good. But Cancers usually, so they're very kinky, but more on the sensual side.
Yeah.
And so exploring BDSM, like for you with those Capricorn placements, exploring power dynamics, so giving power away or stepping into power, however that'll look. And then for him, how you can add sensuality and romance to something as well. And romance in the sense of like, what are his love languages? Do you know?
It's definitely quality time,
Okay.
acts of service. No, I think words of affirmation, acts of service
Yeah.
are probably like his top 3. I know what is the other ones are gifts and
Gifts and whatever. You can look it up. It's your homework.
It's your homework if you find the 5th one.
We've done it both times. 4 out of 5.
It'll
I'm proud
probably
of us.
it'll probably come
that
out of
episode will be
nowhere.
over and we'll be like, I remember. So thinking of that and with all of his Cancer placements, so if the way he receives love is through, I know it can be, our phone notifications can be like so like invasive, honestly.
So, and it's like, because it's like I have all Apple products, so it's like my iPad, my laptop, my phone, like all at once, and especially when someone calls me, I'm like, fuck.
Did you ever watch The Office?
You know what? I'm the only person in the world
Wow, I'm judging.
who has watched The Office but didn't care to keep going. I know. I know. I know.
I
Because
feel
everyone
personally
loves The
attacked. No, I'm
Office.
kidding.
Yeah.
There's this one episode where this guy creates, like, he's always creating stupid shit that doesn't work, but he creates something called Woof, where if you get like a notification in one place, it notifies you everywhere. So what you were just saying, and it like woofs at you.
Oh, for sure.
Horrible idea. But
So
anyway,
aggressive.
but it like reminded me of, okay, our ADHD. Sensuality, romance, sex. Okay, so if he likes quality time, acts of service, and words of affirmation. So again, I mean, yeah, voice notes, that can be sexual, kinky, but romantic a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? Like just
he
adding that
loves
romantic touch.
sexting. Like he loves like sending photos. I don't think I'm like a photos person, but I definitely you're spot on with the voice notes or like because being vocal. Because for me, like I don't like to text.
Yeah.
I'm just not a texter. Like but I love a little voice note. I love a FaceTime call. Like I mean I'm a podcaster, so it's just like I like to vocally say it versus like, you know, send you a picture with like a nasty caption or something. Like I'm just it's but he could do that. And he's done it with like other girls, like, you know, that he's like sexted and stuff, and he like,
which is the great thing about an ethically non-monogamous relationship.
Like,
I do not have to do it all for you, boo.
Right.
And like, I don't want to.
Exactly.
Frankly.
Yeah. And it's also like we're always together. So it's like, when are we gonna like, you know, I mean maybe when I'm out here, but still it's like, I mean, and I have before, like I definitely have sent him like photos and stuff, but it's just, it's not something that's like on the forefront of my mind to do, you know. So
absolutely. And I think like the best thing we could also do is follow our own instinct with eroticism. Like obviously finding out ways to support our partner in their eroticism, but not doing it in such a way where you're not being true to yourself. Because then you go back to that people pleasing, energy sucking, energy draining type of sex that we don't want. You
like
know?
he loves like sending dick pics, which is like, I get it. Like he's very proud of his penis, and I love that for him. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't want like a dick pic in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? Like he tries to like, and so we've had, you know, he stopped because he's like, I just really like this picture of my dick, you know, and he would send it. I was just like, I'm just not like, you know, Mars and Gemini, especially if I'm working, I'm like, my mind isn't there. Like I'm just, but like for him, it's just like, it's just always on.
God,
so, but
what that must be like.
I know.
Yeah, I don't
like
understand.
he could have sex like every day. How I don't know. Like I don't have that like libido.
No, I don't either.
I don't have that drive.
I don't.
And I feel like, I mean, do you ever feel this where it's like it's kind of expected that you have that kind of drive?
Oh, because I'm a sex scholar.
Yeah, and like I talk about sex all the time. I feel like people think that I'm just like constantly like horny or something.
Oh, totally.
And I'm like, actually, I'm not.
No, not at all. Yeah,
like, no.
Literally the opposite.
Yeah,
I don't think I've masturbated in like 5 days. Not for like any reason, just like, you know, a bitch is busy and not that horny. I mean, I am actually, as I was driving here today, I was like, I'm really horny right now.
I was horny yesterday.
You know.
Yeah, because someone like sent in like a really juicy email, like that got me horny. Again, mental stimulation. I love a good story. I probably should like do an, you know.
Do what?
Listen to like, because I don't read. Listen to like you know, like an audiobook, like booked, you know.
Yeah, there's Afterglow has
shout
like
out to Afterglow.
Yeah, shout out to Afterglow, female owned porn website. They have guided masturbations, but they also have a lot of audio stuff. And then Deep Sea, I may be pronouncing it wrong, but they're like an all audio porn app. And that, you know, I'm here for that as well.
Yeah,
I really like stories.
I'm gonna start doing that because like I was aroused with like a listener's story. I was like, can I hook up with you guys?
Oh my God, I love it.
I was like, I am totally turned on. But anyways,
I'm here for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I read over the major. Okay. Perfect.
I mean, we're almost at an hour, but yeah. We can wrap it up.
Well, that's perfect because I was gonna say I hit all the major spots.
Okay. Cool.
So do you have any specific questions?
No, I mean, I think that we've like, you did a good job of like covering all of that. Yeah.
Thank you. I try, you know.
Yeah, you did a great.
Try to keep it covered with sextrology.
Yeah. Exactly. So like in your book, maybe like it shows like if someone is like curious on what their erogenous zones are and everything, they can kind of like look up.
like your erogenous zones, how your mind works. Your brain is your biggest sex organ.
Yeah.
And so that was why it was important for me in the book to kind of go over your sexual subconscious. Also, you know, like Carl Jung said, if you don't make the subconscious conscious, it'll run your life and you'll call it fate. And so it's really important to start looking into our own, what psychologists call the erotic shadow or the erotic subconscious. So I wove that into the book because I think that's something, especially in our current historical moment and the way that we are trying to understand sex as a culture, a lot of it has to do with mind blocks. You know, it's really fascinating. There's this sex therapist named Dr. Shirley Zussman. She's 107. She's still a practicing sex therapist.
Oh, shit.
She started going to school to study psychology in either the 30s or the 50s. I don't remember. I think 1936. Tell me why I know this random fucking knowledge. Anyway. Never met this woman. Hi, Shirley. I think you're great.
It's okay. I know random knowledge off Fifth Harmony. And it's just
God
like this
bless
little pocket of like all this knowledge about
bullshit.
each.
Yeah, just bullshit.
But that yours is not bullshit. This is a like very
thank you.
like, you know,
Thank you.
It like, you know, helps
It's
out
helpful
your
when I'm
career.
invited on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, but what's really interesting, so this woman, in a couple of interviews, I'm writing an article about her, which is why I know this stuff, pleasurescience.com for my articles and blog. But I'm writing an article about her because she's been discussing like how sex therapy and the reasons people go to sex therapy have changed over the last century. Because I mean, we're like what, the 2023? She started in 1936. So one of the things when people first started going to her for sex therapy, it was all like, I'm not having an orgasm. How do I keep a hard on? It was all very like physical. How do I do this thing with my body?
Yeah.
And now what people are really interested in is how do I get my mind out of the shame gutter? How do I stop having emotional hangovers from sex? You know, and all of these different mental blocks that we experience. And so it's really fascinating.
That's so true. Yeah, because I mean, even for me, I think my biggest thing is like, how do I release the shame and just feel comfortable with it and to explore and to like, you know, so.
Totally.
God, there's like flies everywhere. Thank you, Rose, for the garage again. But anyways, where can people find you and buy your book? And all the links and all that stuff. So,
well, if you're looking for a sex coach, I have an amazing program called the 60-Day Sex Breakthrough that's helped over 50 people. So go to pleasurescience.com, check that out. And you can, I mean, everything is on pleasurescience.com. My book is there. You can also go on Amazon and find it. You can follow me at Pleasure Science on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. And that's pretty much it. Just look up Pleasure Science and you'll find me. Don't try to spell my name because Nadege is a hard name to spell. It's why I made my business name much easier.
Like, how do I spell? How do I even pronounce your name?
I have heard everything. Someone one time called me Nadine, and I was like, "But that isn't even my name."
That's just lazy.
Was next level.
They're just like, we're gonna go with the closest thing that I could think of.
Yeah,
that's lazy.
But that's how you can find me.
Yay,
Nadine. No, I'm just kidding.
Imagine I put featuring Nadine. You'd be like, what the fuck? Okay, anyways. Follow me, Stefanie Maegan, or go to brocotherapy.com. All that shit is there. And then sign up for Patreon, you guys, so I could one day get my own studio and not have to, like, you know, go to Rose's garage every time I come out to LA and sneeze on the mic. But anyways, okay, love you. Bye. Girl therapy.